G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the microphone with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome to the mic Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
VP.
G'day world.
That sounds so impressive. G'day world.
Well, why not? Why not?
I'm waiting for an answer or something, eh?
we are speaking. Hey, I'm sore. I'm very, very sore.
Right.
I decided that I'd go out for a sail today. You've probably seen the email.
Yeah, are you okay?
I am okay, and so is the OK class in Drummoyne Sailing Club here in Sydney. Oh my God, yeah. No, I was good for the first half a lap.
Well, let's bring in Bicey.
And then the legs started burning.
Yeah. Let's bring in Bicey because I have seen the photos. Hang on.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
Gents, good to be here.
G'day.
At the end of what I call at the end of opening day season.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Done and dusted for 22.
Put your whites away.
Yeah, I'll pack the whites away for a little bit longer until the next, handshaking, baby kissing opportunity arises.
Did you see the photos of BP sailing the OK dinghy?
No, negative.
Oh.
Talk me through it.
Fantastic photos. Oh, good, BP. Good work. You are a little underdone in a few of your setup areas. I'm sure you'll agree.
I didn't know what rope I was pulling. He said, pull on this rope. And I didn't. Yeah, whatever.
You didn't have a natural weight jacket or head, for that matter.
I got out there and I did my best. That's what it's all about. Sailing is about getting out there and having a crack.
Is it the biggest OK fleet in the world, the Drummoyne fleet?
It's not, well, like when they say in the world, it's definitely got serious momentum with some big names. I mean, you've got the local guys there that are all, top 10 in the world in their own right. But, even Noel Drennan just won the Etchell Worlds. Yeah. He's come out and got a boat and gone sailing today. And yeah, it's a real good little thing.
Yeah, Blake Russell sent the email through, and I think he mentioned that if you want to go and have a go, just cruise on down there. They're more than helpful. If they let BP have a go, anyone can have a go, basically. So that's pretty cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
I've got him now. Pull your vang on, BP.
No, I'm just hard to windward. The boom's up in the air. I'm rolling it down to windward, sailing square.
Geez. Our guest must be loving this, by the way.
Yeah. We got some other banter about big heads, but we might leave that to later on. I think we should bring in our guest because I feel that we need to behave a little bit more. We need a little bit more respect in this episode. A bit better behaviour. I'm going to try and be on my best behaviour, and you guys can take the piss out of me, obviously.
Yeah, goes without saying.
Well, this is another great guest, and we're very grateful for this gentleman's time. From a multitude of reasons, a long history in the sport of sailing, a family of sailors, a Frenchman, Vice Commodore of the Royal Ocean Racing Club, and the owner and winner of the Middle Sea Race just gone. So exciting and topical. Welcome to the show, Eric de Turckheim.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the introduction. On my side, last night I was on the annual dinner of the Royal Ocean Racing Club in dinner jacket, having a few drinks. So late evening. Nice. So but ready for the show.
Well, it's the perfect preparation, Eric. We often prepare in that manner ourselves, minus the dinner jacket. Look, we'll talk about your youth and growing up and stuff, but recently off the win in the Middle Sea Race, that's got to be a fantastic feather in your cap.
Yeah, it is fantastic. I mean, obviously, I've been doing these 600 miles race around the world for several years, including to Sydney Hobart, and it's winning your class is what you go for, and winning overall is always a bit of luck, but it's fantastic when you get it.
I spoke to Chris Stone last week when I saw the result, and I spoke to him, and he mentioned that you'd just gone out and bought a Rolex the couple of weeks before. Is that true? And what did you do with the one you won?
Well, it's true, because the funny thing is that we were having a lunch with Lionel Schutz, who is the Rolex guy in charge of sponsoring sailing. And we were speaking about strategy of the RORC going forward, and so on and so forth. And I told him, he said, you know, your commercial department is something fantastic. You know, they stopped me from winning a Rolex for all these years, right? So much that I had to buy one. And now I hope that you're going to remove the veto you have on me.
Well, there you go. You did it.
There you go.
Nice.
So, he sent me an email after the race and said, it's removed.
It is done.
I'm surprised.
Well, I'd love to say that works across the field, but I've been trying to win these yachting regattas that are sponsored by beer for a long time. And I was drinking a lot of it beforehand.
I love it.
I'm actually surprised Laurent Pages didn't actually mention to you, and it was actually because he came on Bar Karate. We have what's called the Bar Karate curse, Eric, and a lot of the people who come on the show in that year have a very successful event or a successful result, and so there you go.
Yeah, it's the anti-curse.
The anti-curse, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The joy of winning that event, I mean, the Middle Sea race is quite a complex race. It is one of the major events. It's challenging in many ways, and for you to win with you know, a team that you've put together, a boat that you've got designed, and for a sport that you've put so much energy into, it must have been an emotional event. Not just the fact that now you've got to wear 2 Rolexes, but you know, it must have been quite special for you in many, many ways.
In many ways, because first of all, as you said, I mean, the Middle Sea race is probably the most complex race in terms of environment, you know, because of this the Sicily Island, which with the Etna volcano, which is more than 3,000 meters, and you just pass by. So and you got all these. As a result of that, you have incredible changes of winds. Plus, you're in the in the Mediterranean, and you can have 0 wind and 40 knots in the same race, and it's very rapidly. So, and we've had it. I mean, I've lost the mast there.
Yeah.
So it's a very complex race. Experience counts a lot on that race as well, and it's our 7th race, a Middle Sea race. So. So it's a great one to win. On top of that, yeah, I mean the team I'm working with, we've been working together for many years, and you know, and for me, it's really a team. We have to have fun. We are not there just with professionals or people who are just there to make a living. It's really a question of having a great time together. We always have a couple of bottle of wine on board to have a little aperitif. It's just nothing, but it's part of the team spirit.
Yeah, nice.
And that translates also into your boat as well, as in the boat itself, Eric. From what I've seen about the boat, it's, yes, designed specifically, but also very comfortable.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's, you know, it's for the offshore racing, it's the second teasing machine. The first one was a 43 foot.
Archambault?
And
Archambault?
Archambault. It was before. It was the last boat actually they built, more or less, before going bankrupt. And
thanks.
that first Teasing Machine was very successful in the 40 feet class. It was basically similar to the 54, a fairly powerful boat, heavier than the 40 feet, with a very competitive IRC rating. She worked really extremely well. So when we developed the 54, we wanted to do the same in the 50 class, especially against the TP52s and the other 50, Cookson 50 and so on. Except that it worked, but we had a big weakness in the 8 to 14 knots or 8 to 12 knots against its much lighter boat. So we started last year to take out 2 tons out of the boat, and we did take out another half a ton in August. So it proves that we are really in the game now in pure term of speed in this sort of light wind environment. We'll see in the Caribbean 600, for example, where you're going to have normally stronger winds, how much power we've lost against these guys.
It's important because maybe just before we get deeper into the boat, I just want to confirm the conditions were quite difficult for the middle sea race this time around. A lot of light winds, so that work was obviously important.
Yeah. I mean, it was a strange race because it was extremely light wind all the way around, but there was the pack of the front of the first 10, 12 boats. We were the smaller of the bigger ones in front. We managed to get some air all the way around, more or less. It was really a question of staying with that front just behind us. I mean, it was just maybe a couple of miles, 5 miles behind. There was nothing. So as long as we stayed with that pack, we stayed with the potential of winning, it was right to the end, because at the end you arrive in front of Malta and you have a buoy to round, and then you have a mile and a half to get to the line. And there, nothing. The wind dropped absolutely altogether.
Wow.
And after all them hours at sea, that's the hardest part, isn't it? And you experienced that.
Yeah, it took us 45 minutes. Thank God we had something like 2 hours. We were 2 hours ahead of the second in terms of corrected time. So we finished with just 20 minutes at the end. But it reminded me of Sydney Hobart, the first Sydney Hobart I did.
I was heading towards that. We've all experienced that.
We've all had the Hobart one in the Derwent.
Yeah. So 2015.
Lost, sorry.
Yeah.
Had many Rolexes stolen from us. Within that close, exactly. The close mileage.
So for those who don't know, in 2015, I think the original Teasing Machine, you were leading in all into the Derwent, and then got all the wind went away, as can often quite happen in that stretch of water. And I think you ended up 10th overall in the end, didn't you?
Something like that. I mean, it took us 5 hours to do the last 10 miles. Something like that.
Sounds very.
We arrived at 2 o'clock in the morning at the entry of the river and finished around 7 o'clock.
The rule of thumb is you got to be at the end of the entrance of Derwent before sundown. That's the rule of thumb.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's a shutdown.
Exactly.
How did you take 2.5 tons out of the boat? Was it just get rid of the big-headed Aussies, or?
No, we changed the keel. Increased the draft. And as a result, we managed to reduce the weight without too much losing
rotting money.
Because on the Teasing Machine, your current boat, it didn't have a bulb on the keel. I thought it was sort of quite retro almost in a way.
Yep. On the first keel was a straight keel. The bulb we have now a bulb on the keel, and that was the change that we did last year.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
and maybe can I just on that, because we're on a bit of the design stuff, the actual design process. It's fair to say the design firm is not that popular in Australia as for the rest of the world. Do you want to just explain a little bit about who was behind that and how you work closely with them?
The architect Bernard Nivelt. Bernard Nivelt is quite a famous architect in France. He designed a lot of boats. He spent actually a lot of time on America's Cup in the US. I think it was in the 90s. And he is very much more a scientific and somebody who is working hard on calculation, and is an expert on IRC rating as well. So, to design a competitive IRC rating boat, you need to have an architect who has a fairly good knowledge of that environment, and he's got it. In the middle sea race, he had another boat called Albator who won class 3, I think.
Very successful year for him then.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Bossy's onto something here with and you went for a 54 footer, like we know there's so many TP 52s, that 52 foot range there's a huge number of boats. Does that extra couple of feet just allow you to step out in front? Is that what part of the logic was, or?
Yeah, it was part of the logic to have a boat which is a lot more powerful than these guys. I mean, obviously, the TP52s are sort of transformed for offshore, but they are not really pure offshore design originally. But they are highly performant. So, we had to do something which is not a TP52. We had to distinguish ourselves and building on our strengths, and obviously in powerful and high wind, we will beat them almost every single time. But the question was to be competitive in lighter wind, because even if you can beat them because of your competitive IRC rating, it's you are not sailing in the same fleet. They are ahead and you are behind, and you might have different current, different wind strength, different. So we had to develop that boat by doing what we've done.
Yeah. I have to ask the question? You spent a bit of time and money and effort launching a boat. You've had it for 5 years now. Do you enjoy the boat?
Yep. Yeah. Well, it depends what you say. Enjoy the boat. Yes. Yeah. No. Let's say if I'm speaking about having fun, I had more fun on the 40 feet than on the 50. Okay. And if I was to build another one, which is always a possibility, I think I would probably go back in something a bit lighter and smaller, because it's a lot more fun to steer, and you're much more in contact. We all grew up on smaller boats, on dinghies originally, and grew in size over your life. We still like to be on a 30 feet boat, on. So it's
going fast.
Going fast.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's a foiling offshore boat now. Maybe. The flying Nicker, mate.
Yeah. No, not a flying one. No.
Okay. But all right, well, we'll come back to, just while you've given this opportunity, I just have to ask, if you were building a new boat at the moment, we know you'd go smaller. I agree. I like the lightweight and really sensitive boats. So What else? What is something modern that you're seeing that you think, yeah, I need to add that, or I'd love to have that as part of the design?
It's hard to say. I was so impressed at some point, by the canteen keel, but I'm still a very classic guy. I grew up sailing in the 70s with the development of offshore sailing as it is today, and I remember when in France with an Armagnac, which was a 10-meter boat, 30 something feet. You were hitting 10 knots on the spinnaker. We were changing helmsman. You say 10 knots. That's it. Next.
How things have changed, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
You could do a class 40 or something like that. There's all sorts of different sort of classes that you can fit into in that sort of range. So that is one of the great things of sailing these days.
Yeah, and we with RORC, with the UNCL Yacht Club de France, we've developed a 30 feet one design, which is going to come out beginning of next year, which has been designed by VPLP. So it's again, it's we've developed that boat essentially to bring young people to offshore sailing. So there's going to be two versions, a sailing school version and a one design version. So it could be good fun as well to be on a boat of that size.
Okay.
How long have we kind of need to go back to your youth a little bit at some point, Eric? And maybe this is the right time, but I need to remember to just to keep the RORC story in there and how long you've been involved and what that looks like. But how did it all start from you, Eric?
What you want to
the sailing just from day one, was it?
Sailing from day one. Well, I was born in the east part of France near the border with Germany. So not a place where you can sail. No. But my parents happened to go on holidays near La Rochelle on an island called Ile de Ré. So it's a beautiful island just off La Rochelle. La Rochelle is one of the sailing center in France. Obviously, I started to go to the local sailing school when I was six, and it happens that my mother was started to sail as well at some similar time. I was 6. She went to a famous sailing school when I was that age, and she loved sailing. So she started to race while on my side I was developing on dinghies. I built my first boat was built actually with my father. It was a plywood dinghy, which we built together during the winter and brought to the island the summer after. And then typical 420s, 470s, student in Paris doing 470s. Then my mother built a first racing boat, which was designed by Michel Joubert. Michel Joubert was a key architect at that time. So I started to race with her for a few seasons, and then went up my own way on offshore racing. And
how was it racing with your mother, Eric? How was it racing with your mother? That must have been really interesting.
Yeah, because I just have 20 years difference with my mother. So she was 40, I was 20, and we won Carolina. We won quite a few races with that boat. So it was great fun. But then after that, I moved on, and for being a student in Paris was very practical to go racing at the weekend. Normandy, in Cherbourg, essentially the RORC races that we were doing.
So just quickly, before we go any further, Michel Joubert, was he the original partner with your current designer?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Michel Joubert was an architect who had a huge variety of design. He designed racing boat. He designed also motorboats. He designed catamaran, Charente-Maritime. He designed really a huge variety of stuff. But he needed Bernard Nivelt, who was more the more scientific approach, the more methodological approach. Michel Joubert could not use a computer or use any of this architect software. He was just doing everything by hand, and then he needed somebody next to him to
translate it. Translate it from the back of the beer coaster into a something that works.
Yeah, I also have a cruising boat was designed by Michel Joubert. It's a 90 feet cruising boat, color Hortense, and she's been going around the world. We've been twice to Antarctica. This summer we were in Greenland. Wow. Alaska, Falklands, everywhere. Big tour of the Pacific.
Yeah, everywhere cold.
I like ice. Yeah. I was born in the mountains, so I like ice.
I like ice too, mate, but in my drinks.
Yeah, okay.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a little story we didn't have in the bio, isn't it?
So you come through the 70s, at which time was almost similar to times now, like the advancement of yachting, as you mentioned before.
Good point.
Specifically the offshore racing. You would have seen a lot of advancement happen very quickly and sailed on some pretty cool boats, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I think that this period of the early 70s is just amazing in developments of racing boats. You are coming from a period where you are essentially you are designing fairly narrow boats, essentially to go upwind, and then suddenly you are starting to build boats much wider, especially at the back, in order to go fast downwind, and that's really the revolution which takes place during this early 70s.
Yeah, and the boats got lighter and the keels got they changed quite a bit in shape. But yeah, it was a complete change, as Bicey said. And then the other thing is rigs changed a lot as well, that whole element. And as technology came, it continued to evolve. Why offshore? You were sailing dinghies. You're in a perfectly happy place. You could go home at night and have a warm shower.
Go to Antarctica.
What's the love?
I absolutely love it because it's like as I said before, it's a bit like a marathon. I've run quite a few marathons in my life, and it's something when you run a marathon, it's a huge psychological and intellectual effort. You have obviously a physical effort, but you hold because of your capacity, your brain capacity to keep your body together. When you do a 600-mile or longer transatlantic or something like that, you are in the same thing. You have to keep concentrating for a long distance, and you have to keep the team together. The tactics have to be all integrated. It's really an effort, and that's why I like this long distance racing more than the daily up and down
stuff.
And yet during that time, Eric, you've sailed on some fantastic boats and some fantastic designs. Any that really stand out?
I remember preparing for the Admiral's Cup of the time I think it was in 1975, and the boat was Coriolan, and the sails had been made by Elstrom. And I remember the boat was not fantastic actually, but I remember Elstrom coming on board. We had a main sail which was not good at all, and so he came on board, looked at it, and at some point he took out the knife and took out the Elstrom crown, which was in
the tack, the logo.
The logo out.
Wow.
That's a good story.
That's crazy.
Well, it's all part of development, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Needed to be shorter in the tack.
It almost opens up a little bit of that discussion. Admiral's Cup was a big scene for quite a while in the world of sailing. We all grew up. I certainly grew up reading about the Admiral's Cup, and then there were other events like the Southern Cross Cup and the one in Hawaii and all sorts of stuff where teams were getting together. We were creating international competition in the world of yacht racing. I guess that kind of opens up your role in the sport. You're currently the Vice Commodore of the Royal Ocean Racing Club. It's a very important organisation these days. I think all three of us qualify for the tie. We discussed that. The other two tried to take the piss out of me because I don't do that many miles offshore. But tell us about that club and, some of the events that are coming up.
Well, the club is going to celebrate in 2025 its 100th anniversary. So it's a very important date for the club. On top of that, next year, 2023, it's the 50th Fastnet race. So we have some big events coming up. The club is almost fully concentrating on offshore racing and also managing with our French colleagues the IRC rating system. So it's a big club. We have almost 4,000 members. A big portion are international members. Something like 40% are 60 are UK and 40 are international. So it's and you need to have done I think it's 300 miles or more or something like that, and night at sea to qualify. I forgot exactly what are the terms, but we as a club have our big strength is the offshore racing, of course, and we are continuing to develop new races around the world. I mean, the latest one was 600 miles called the Baltic 600, which is starting in Helsinki. That was this year, was the first year. The Caribbean 600 is now well established, but it was created not so long ago. I can't remember, maybe 10, 12 years ago. So it is attracting boats from all over the world. So we have some big plans going forward. One of it is to revive the Admiral's Cup. That's certainly one of the things that we want to do. Maybe, I mean, in terms of racing content, it would be the same than what it used to be. A mix of, let's say, inshore coastal race around the island with Isle of Wight and then the Fastnet. So it's the key issue is more national teams today do not I don't think it means anything to have national teams, but you could have, and we have not yet fully defined exactly what it's going to be. But Admiral's Cup was for big boats, so it's I would say minimum size 40 feet, and we'll have to define exactly if we do two classes, 140 to 55 feet, say, and the second class above 55. We'll see, but definitely Admiral's Cup is something to be revived. I think we could attract boats coming from, especially 2025, which is going to be the date we are looking for. We're going to have also a transatlantic coming from Newport, from the US, because of the 100th anniversary of RORC. And so they're going to come in June. So we're going to have quite a lot of American boat coming over. So, I think it could be a very important year, 2025.
Something to look forward to, 2025, Jordan.
Absolutely. I'm impressed.
You could make your ocean racing,
you
not
could become,
debut, your ocean racing comeback.
Yes.
Comeback.
You could clock up your 300 miles and get a tie.
I've done my 300 miles, you mongrel. Done.
So,
Good on you.
Reading prior to the show, Eric, there's, our host here, Jordan, he sends out a bit of a bio on our guest, and but we didn't really need it for yourself. And in a lot of areas, it's mentioned how much you love the 600-mile races. Now, I'm guessing there's no coincidence here. The Caribbean 600, the Baltic 600, the Hobart race, the Middle Sea race, they're all your dreams, basically.
Yeah, well, we do also some shorter races. In the RORC program has a whole variety of races from 100 miles to 600. A lot of them are 150, 300. It's important in order to bring new owners to race. You don't jump on the 600 from nowhere. So there are some races, including in France, for example, which are 100 miles one night. So you do 100 miles race, one night at sea. So it's not too difficult for, let's say, cruiser racer owners trying to develop in that offshore race environment. So it's important for us as a club to have a whole range of races from, as I said, 100 miles to the 600. Yes, I love the 600, but and offshore racing, as I said, is the strength of the RORC. It's the strength of quite a lot of clubs around the world, and you'll see me in Sydney Hobart at the end of next year.
You stole that question out of my mouth, Eric. I was going to ask when we're going to see you down here. One, the name of the boat, Teasing Machine. I need to ask that question, how that happened. But to have that on the start line will be very good. So straight to it. The name of the boat, Teasing Machine. Do tell, Eric.
I need a few beers.
Good answer.
and a lot of beeps.
Well, a few people know the origin of the name, but no, it was before I went back into offshore racing. I did a few seasons on the Melgers 32, the first race I did was in Key West, and I rented a Melgers 32 before buying one, and so I bought a Melgers 32, and the question was the name. Now, in Key West, you have quite a few strip bar, I would say. I remember one was called The Red, and the other one was called The Teaser. An English competitor on Melgers 32 had already called his boat The Red. So I couldn't take The Red. So it became Teasing Machine, and that's why we always have, linked
Bravo.
to that history, including our logo.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great to have a sense of humor in this sport, and it's a great name. We do love it, and we cannot wait to have you down here in Australian waters.
No, it's true. We are there for the fun. I mean, it's a serious sport. So you are a competitor. You want to win, but you are there for the fun. I mean, the fun of being together, being at sea. Being at sea, you respect the sea, and as I always said, sailing is the sport which teaches you never to be arrogant. You can win a race and the next day be last.
That's it.
That's the truth.
Okay, so if you do come down next year, as you're saying, first off, word of advice, don't put Bicey on your boat, because for the last 3 years now, I think his boat hasn't been able to go because of COVID. So he is a COVID magnet. So, yeah.
Okay.
But if you do go, I take it there's no plans. Like, we sort of had a bit of fun discussion about the next boat, but there's no plans for updating currently. So the 54 is would come down, and you'd expect to win.
Who knows? It depends. It depends what sort of weather we're going to have. I've done 2 Sydney Hobart. The first one, we had some serious strong wind going down the Australian coast. And the second one was all downwind with the down light wind. So, which I always says, this is not Sydney Hobart to do a Sydney Hobart, with light downwinds. It's no.
Very, very rare indeed. Very rare indeed. Very rare. Yeah.
The good thing for you, though, Eric, is when you are doing the Hobart, you're in your comfort zone, because it's getting colder as you head towards the destination.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. It's absolutely my comfort zone, and hopefully we'll see a bit of ice. Who knows?
No, thank you. But just don't tell me you're out there in your shorts and t-shirts as you're going across Bass Strait. That's all.
Have you speaking, sort of playing on that a little bit, obviously the Caribbean's nice and warm. We have the Hamilton Island race week. So do you avoid those because they are too warm, or what's the story?
No, I like the Caribbean. The Caribbean 600 is with hopefully some good trade winds. It's very interesting tactically, because you got all these islands you're going around. I mean, these islands are all volcanoes, so you're going to have some serious complexity depending of the time you pass this island. You go close with the island, long distance from the island. You got all these wind shift. So it's quite a complex race, and with the big one is being the Guadeloupe, the French island, which has a very high, again, more than 2,000 meter volcano. So it's a hard race to win.
What about so one of the things the Ocean Racing Club is starting to do quite well is the linking races, which you guys really understand that you've got some races that are jewels in the crown, the 600s, and now you're doing races or events across that bring boats in. So like transatlantic races, for example, to get to the Caribbean, and as you said, transatlantic the other way to come back for Fastnet and the Admiral's Cup. Do you like doing those ocean crossings? I know you've done it on your boat.
Yeah, and we're going to do it again this year. I think I'm going to do the transatlantic beginning of January. I think it's important to bring competitors to races, and also to as they invest quite a lot of money to bring their boat to key races like the 600. to have maybe a little bit of a wider program. And for the first time this year, with the 600, we're going to have 2 days of inshore around the island in bracket, around Antigua race, which existed already, but which was not linked to the 600, to do a program over 4 or 5 days after and finish with the 600. So to have to bring to give the owner the opportunity to do a bit more around the key races like the 600.
Yeah. So the question then becomes, do you prefer sailing downwind or upwind?
Hard question. I don't know. I think both, and it depends the strength of the wind, because downwind with 25 knots, it can be absolutely fabulous. But on the other side, going upwind in difficult condition can be good as well. And if I speak about the latest middle sea race, I mean, you were going upwind in 2 knots wind. It's tough, but it's also where you win races, because your capacity of keeping your speed, is absolutely key.
I can't quite remember the exact governance within RORC, but are you like top of the list as far as competing in as many RORC events as possible?
No, I am not top of the list. There is 1 or 2 who's done a lot more races than me. I think Richard Palmer, Jangada, who is Yacht of the Year, I think he's done 10 or 11 races in the last 12 months. So,
Wow.
And so it's and some good ones, including winning overall the Round Britain Island race. So
talk about a lot of racing, and this is something that's quite interesting. I was in Hamble a few weeks back, and I saw Surprise there, the JPK 1180, obviously, as we know, won the Fastnet. Then the controversial result in the Middle Sea race last year. Well, let's just say a very successful race. We're not going to say whether they won or lost, but then they're down here for the Hobart. This is an interesting thing that if they do well on the Hobart, which they're in a good position to do, they've got a Fastnet, a controversial Middle Sea, and then obviously the Hobart, a great trio of races to get hold of. Come
on, mate. Got the Caribbean, they got the Baltic, they got all sorts to tick the boxes on.
Yeah, but anyway, here we are. Teasing Machines won the Middle Sea race. You are planning to come down next year, Fastnet next year as well. Are you going to try and do the Fastnet next year? Or?
Oh yeah, we'll do definitely.
So you do the Fastnet and then bring the boat down to Australia. Busy.
Yeah, I mean, again, as I said, it's a little bit like on the 600s. You a little bit like in tennis, where you have the Grand Slams.
Yes.
Okay, so you got the Australian. Yes. I was telling that the Australian one. You got the UK one with the Fastnet. You got the Caribbean 600, and you got the Middle Sea race. And the journalist was asking me about what. Can you translate that into a surface like in tennis? So I said, well, Fastnet is obviously grass. The Middle Sea race, let's say it's clay because of the light wind and the slow race that you can have there. Caribbean 600 with the trade winds, obviously it's fast hard court. And Sydney Hobart is hard court, but it can vary, so it's a bit slower.
Bit of shitty old gravel.
Bit of asphalt. Bit of asphalt with some stones.
With a few loose stones kicking around.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey,
like it. The Grand Slam World Tour.
Exactly.
One question we have to ask for our listeners. So we get one of the goals of the podcast is to try and make it easier for people to get where they want in the sport. You're an owner. when you're picking a crew, what do you reckon the most important thing a person who's joining a crew needs to have? You know, we talk about this a lot, so I'm just interested in what your view is.
But obviously, you know, a crew, when you pick up a crew, you got to have the complementarity between, you know, the number one right down to the helmsman. So you need to have the complementarity of profile. But the key as well is the spirit, the capacity to integrate the team and work together. Because obviously, when we are racing together, like throughout the year, you know, we're spending days, nights training. So we're spending a lot of time together. So living with each other is absolutely a key. So motivation, of course, you got. But sometimes we can have a crew member who is maybe not top notch. We also bring some youngsters to racing. So I take people coming from dinghy who are learning. So they are not going to be automatically the top of the pop, but it's part of a team, and that's what we're looking for. We need the technicity, of course. We need the people being capable of being at their post, but fundamentally it's a team. It's having fun.
I mean,
It's pretty clear you build a solid culture amongst your teams. And I'd also say, given that you also, one of your offsiders in Laurent being possibly the nicest guy in yachting, that helps things as well.
Yeah, I mean, Laurent is a great guy. I mean, we work together now for many years, and we get on very well with each other. So when we pick up the teams, you know, it's totally together. He's done a fantastic job on the middle series, doing the tactics and navigation. He's doing navigation more and more. He loves it. But you know, on the other side, he's a very driven person. He's really methodological on the training, and we you know, for example, after having taken out 500 kilo in August, we did 5 days in Valencia, pure training, you know, 5, 6, 7 hours of different angles, checking the speed, the you know, what is the impact, the different sail setups and so on.
just the usual stuff, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was just gonna
bloody boring when you are like me on the helms. And okay,
how long do we have to go at 110 degrees true wind angle? Come on.
Beauty.
The interesting thing for you, my friend, is you know, effectively you live in La Rochelle or right next to La Rochelle. Just a quiet little town, not much sailing going on there. What's it like, you know, being at the centre of, you know, really one of the biggest scenes in sailing, you know, at the moment? Like, I'm literally where you are, it would be chock-a-block at the moment, but do you get much influence from all the different types of sailing that you see coming out of that little town? Well,
I mean, I go to La Rochelle essentially when I'm off working. I mean, I'm retired technically, but I'm still very active business-wise. Where I live, where my office is in Geneva, in Switzerland, near the lake. On the lake, you have all these super fast catamaran foilers and non-foilers and whatever. So that's where I see a lot of the let's say the new fast stuff. La Rochelle is more traditional, is more classic. You have a lot of racer cruiser in the area. You have essentially a lot of dinghies, kites, and the usual.
I apologise. I thought you still lived on Ile de Ré.
No. Ile de Ré has always been a vacation location, and still love it. I still have my mother there. I've got a sister, so it's a place where I have a lot of childhood friends, and I love going there. But work-wise, I'm in Geneva.
Yeah, in Geneva. Yeah, okay. So how long will you be? Is there a time in your mind, we're sort of getting very close to the end of our time, but is there a time in your mind where more adventuring becomes more important and less racing, or you're still very happy?
I like both,
Yeah.
As I said, when I built Hortense on my cruising boat, my dream was to go to Antarctica with 2 dinghies on top, like 2 lasers. Go to Antarctica, put the dinghies in the water, and do a regatta there, do a race, which we did. I went down to Antarctica, put the dinghies in the water, and went racing against one of my friends on board.
Did you win?
Banging against the little ice cube which were so floating there. So the thing about sailing and life in general is keep dreaming, and whenever you can, try to realize your dreams. But the key is to keep dreaming, and that's why racing is the same. Winning Sydney Hobart, already to do Sydney Hobart was a dream. When I was in my 20s, I had no possibilities of being on something like Sydney Hobart. So keep dreaming, and hopefully you realize your dream one day, and that's what is fantastic.
Eric,
Love it.
I've found a photo of Hortense sailing along. It's got the 2 ribs on the top and a couple of dinghies on the top there. She's quite the motor sailor, that thing, isn't she?
It is a motor sailor, and actually, when I went to see Michel Joubert, who I knew, the architect, he's dead now, but where I went to see him, and I said, I want to design a cruising boat for me, and he told me, listen, if you want to cruise, you will see that most of the time you are motoring.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Antarctica, there's no wind, you are motoring. And anywhere with the ice, there's no way you're going to sail there. You go to Patagonia, you go to Alaska, you go to, like this summer in Greenland, you're in high latitude, so there is very little wind. And you'll have some wind, if you do a transatlantic or if you do some part of the Pacific, but most of the time you are motoring. So if you want a good cruising boat, you have to build a motor sailor with, strong motor capacity, good fuel capacity. And that's what he did. And I must say, he is completely right. You need, most of the time, wherever you go, you're going to be motoring. So you better have a hull shape which allow you to go through the waves and whatever you're going to face properly with the motors.
Very
beautiful looking vessel.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
I know why I've never seen it, Eric, because it's in all those cold places. Like it's just it's out of my range. I'll never be there, so I guess we'll never bump into each other now.
Well, if you were on board, you will see that inside is quite comfortable, and you have a 360-degree view from wherever you sit. So,
Yeah.
maybe you should change.
Change your views, Jordan.
Exactly.
All right, mate. Well, we're sort of out of time. First, look, clearly we're going to see you because next year we'll see you as part of the Hobart, and by that time, I think the Spark Radio will be the prime.
I might have broken my curse.
Yeah,
potentially.
We'll all be around at some stage, so we'll see part of that. But I mean, it's always been in the back of my mind to have a good chat with an owner, you know, and it's been really interesting from my perspective just to understand. And we're very big congratulations for for all your work you do, but two, actually getting that win in the Middle Sea race. That's
absolutely,
it's a great achievement.
Yeah, it's always as I said, you're trying to realize dreams and fulfill dreams, and part of it is to develop a prototype boat, not to be just with something you buy on the market. These developments are extremely interesting to do. It's hard work. It's risky. I happen to have also a small company in which I have racing boats, which I rent. For example, I have the Ocean 50 Leighton, was about to go in Haute-Durham. Again, originally I did that to help young racer in class 40 or Figaro, and if they have the budget to operate the boat, I buy the boat for them and just rent it to them. So there are things like that you can do also in the field of sailing, helping young sailors single-handed to develop.
That's cool. That's cool.
Fantastic.
There is one question we haven't asked, and I think we could ask it as a really short and important question. I know. What do you think about double-handed racing coming into the offshore races?
Yeah, that's an absolute key subject. There is a huge development of double-handed racing. Today, in some of our RORC races, 40% of the participants are double-handed. So it's really serious. And why, I don't know. I think that some aspects is difficulties to put together crew and secondly, I'm sure that they enjoy just racing like that double-handed. It's interesting also because the fleet is quite compact in size. They're all between 30 to 40 feet, more or less.
Yep.
So relatively compact. And quite competitive. So it's something that we are looking at developing. We are in the thinking process of maybe recreating what was called the Commodore's Cup, which was a RORC competition which disappeared again. It was team crew. And to do this Commodore's Cup double-handed, there are projects to do a European Championship maybe next year. Double-handed. World Sailing is asking to do maybe a World Championship. And there are questions about trying to bring the double-handed to the Olympics, maybe 2032 or something like that. So there is really a big movement on the double-handed side.
There is no question. It's huge. Like just looking at the Hobart entries this year from 1 year ago, it's already, quite a major fleet of what the future of racing is. So yeah, no, it's good. It's very good.
Yeah, very good.
Anything from you two to last questions?
I'd just like to congratulate you, Eric, on your win and also the work you do. It's greatly appreciated. Don't think that it doesn't go noticed. We appreciate every effort that gets put into it.
And yeah, thanks for joining, Eric. We'll be keeping a close eye on the Teasing Machine, and then keep an eye on your boats as well.
Nice one.
Well, thank you all, and let's keep racing at all levels. Offshore racing is really a fantastic sport. We also have a fantastic rating system, the IRC, which gives the owners of the capacity to race together at a fairly equal with a fairly equal chance of winning, so which is good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, you got to respect the way they go about it. I mean, having an owner on the show was something I always wanted to do too, Jay. But
be an owner.
No, I don't. But Eric, he's just persevered. He's continued as they do, and he's pulled out the chocolates this year.
Yeah. Well, it's good to watch. Nice bloke. Puts a lot back in. Obviously, a very smart man. So, good work. And it always pays to be nice to owners, doesn't it? We all know that.
Yes, we certainly do. Given us, no, stop ice.
Right.
Go.
Yeah. So I think for the listeners, though, there's a lot of interesting things in there. A lot of value coming out of that. How the brain works, and a little bit about getting on boats and stuff, and some of the interesting events that are coming up. The Ocean Racing Club just. They're obviously thinking, they're really driving and thinking and
very
trying
much
to.
So. And if you want to have a little look, go onto the website and have a look at what they do, because they really are very active. And Chris, as we have had on the show, alludes to that they're really trying hard to do these new and exciting events, but keep focusing on the old ones, which is good.
Okay, well that gives us the opportunity to talk about club events coming up. Anything of interest?
Yeah.
Just casually mention that the Darling Point Sailing Squadron is going to have the 505 National Champs
Yeah, of course it is.
in Queensland on the 22nd to the 28th.
Oh, that reminds me of
January.
I believe there's a
lawn mowing competition,
wooden boat festival taking place. There'll be a couple of rainbows taking part.
Hey, look.
No, mate, she's fully fledged. Everything going on now. The season's kicked off, as I mentioned at the start of the show.
Yeah, it's hard to pick
Opening
a club
days
event, isn't it?
down. Australia is cranking, busy.
First beautiful northeasterly here in Sydney today. It's almost normal.
The other thing, I mean, talking about events, we have to mention it literally has just happened today, the notification. Speaking of 505s, you guys, obviously the most important class to talk about is the 505 class. The
second most important.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No. Sorry, I took the words out of you now. Yeah. The second most important, which I think you're about to allude to, is probably the boats lining up for the Route to Run.
No, I was going to talk about how the Worlds are going to have to move. It literally has just been announced for the 5.0, so I was just going to tell people about it.
I couldn't even get into waiver.
Tried to change the subject. No,
what?
I wasn't.
What are you saying? What are you saying here?
I wasn't thinking about.
No, this is something. This is something quite significant.
So the next 5.0 Worlds obviously just had Ireland. They're going to be in Santa Cruz in California, but there's just been an announcement today that they're going to have to move them. Apparently, after the earthquake that was there in '89. A lot of the infrastructure around the waterfront stuff. There's been a plan to upgrade everything, and that includes to the bridge that crosses the harbour. But they haven't done anything on it until they've just decided to announce this year that they're going to do it over summer in Santa Cruz, which means that you can't actually get permits to race the Worlds. So the poor organisers of the Santa Cruz Worlds have just suddenly discovered that they can't host the Worlds in their location. So
what's the risk? Like bridge, they're doing bridge repairs.
Yeah.
Is that what you gathered?
That's something like that.
What I gathered.
Yeah. And then, so they're not going to give permits out for racing on the waterfront, which is, I don't really quite understand. But anyway, Mike Holt, who I think was organising that event,
Holster, yeah.
who's been a guest on the show and multiple world champion, he and a super nice bloke, he's tried to do the ring around to all the clubs, and the St Francis Yacht Club put their hand up, and they had a Worlds there, I think, back in 2011, and ended up sailing in Richmond Circle. So for those who know St Francis, to sail from St Francis to Richmond is it's a long way back after a day of racing. It's a tough slog on the way back, and it was very windy. But because it's sort of going to be September, October timeframe, it shouldn't be as windy. They're going to race the racing on the Alcatraz course, so should be less tidal influence. For a lot of people know that, you know, on the flood, you've got to hit right in against the wall there. But so big changes in the 5.0 fleet. Just thought I'd just say that, because that's probably the most important piece of news in sailing going around, obviously. Yeah.
Probably.
Critical.
Anyway, for the 5.0 listeners, which we have a lot of, there'll be that's interesting. And anyone wanting to sail in Santa Cruz next summer?
Yeah.
Jack Lloyd, listener of the week. And unless anybody else has got any other club events they want to bring up, the Drummoyne OK Dinghy Boom Boom Challenge.
Oh, sorry, I'm just clearing my CPAP machine. Just got swallowed up. I was snoring a bit too much.
All right. Jack Lloyd, listener
listener of the week. We've had a bit of a cracker come through. Are we talking off the same run sheet here, Robbie Colosino?
Yeah, that's the one I think is our listener of the week. It's a good discussion.
A very good discussion. Now, just for the listeners of the week, basically, whatever you send us, don't assume that we're going to keep it quiet, okay? So I don't know if someone's going to steal this fantastic idea, but we're going to let it loose, right?
Yeah.
So you're more of an analysis type guy, Jordan. So my take on this is Robbie's idea is to put a bunch of drones across the race course that can measure do wind readings. So the viewer can watch in real time actually what the wind is doing at any particular time. That's pretty much where I got to with it.
Yep.
So it basically gives a much better experience for the viewer, and just to really get into people's lounge rooms and to try and get them to understand it a bit more and understand why people go to certain places on the course.
Yep. Anything, BP, you want to say? Or
I just think that drones are a cool thing. I think there's going to be uses for them. I had a little idea of, those marks that are GPS orientated now. So they can put the GPS into the marks and the marks hover in that position.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to make one of those like a helipad with a drone on it. When the boats come in to the 3 boat length mark, the drone takes off and takes video of all the action that goes on, because that will stop a lot of the shit that goes on at the 3 boat length mark. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it's not a bad call. Just trying to get all that sort of data. Well, effectively, they've got data pods out in each location, when they're doing Sail GP and so forth. But there's, even nowadays, that sort of exists. Remember our mates from Salmon, we'll give them a free plug, remember we were having a bit of a chat over a few million beers by saying that their data goes up into the cloud, and if you are on the network, you can see if someone's got a Salmon reader and they've left it open to the network, wherever you are, or there's a coach boat out there, you can see the whole network. So if you're sailing on a race course, you can actually see all the wind data from all those readers if they let that, those people let that data go up. So, that sort of is... That future is what's coming anyway, but because I think that will be a feature that will suddenly appear. Storing data into the cloud is, it's basically de rigueur now. So, but it's a good idea. But yeah, that knowledge.
I like the idea. Clearly the people that, Cup Sail GP, all that sort of stuff, is kind of where that level of viewing is. You'd think, but the boats are going so far. It's not like the J24 is doing a 2 mile beat. And you're reading the 3 degree left hand shift out to the side, and who's going to get out there first type thing.
Yep.
Whereas Sail GP and cut boats are going so quick anyway. And I'm not taking anything away from anyone, but maybe 5 degrees isn't a massive one in those regards. But it would definitely help to explain it a little more.
Maybe that's the weakness. We don't explain enough. I know when you're doing the analytics. Say with SAP, another plug for someone, free plug. The
Are you on a deal?
No.
What's going on here?
No, it's just people I've worked with in the past.
Just send a note to Salmon tonight. By the way, gave me a plug. Hey, Hasso, by the way, gave me a plug.
And good to see Tina back racing. I think she's come through.
Oh, Jesus. You'd be wearing a bloody...
Hey, Hasso, how you been, mate? How you been?
Needs new T-shirts.
Anyway.
How you been, Hasso?
But, so the data, so when you're looking at some of those analytics, they have the wind data on the course, and they use that in combination to make a lot of the analytics. So maybe we just don't promote it enough, definitely Sail GP has that data on the course. It's the same, like the marks as BP's talking about. So maybe they just don't advertise enough. And poor old Emily, when she's doing the Sail GP coverage and they're trying to talk about all the different technology, different data that streams that are coming in, that's kind of her job. And then she's got to translate it into miles per hour and kilometres and not just put it in knots, for Christ's sake. Or actually, I can't say anything about Sail GP. I've got to be on my best behaviour.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Mate, sorry, I know we've been on this one for a little bit, but imagine it like the drone king. All right, dronies, off you go. All these drones are just flying off, just positioning themselves above the racecourse. All right, drones are ready. Yep, drones ready. Let's go. All right, it's going to countdown. But everything, imagine like the filming from it, the wind data, mate.
Well, why not?
Wow.
You
want to have a bit of fun, boys. Okay. In my real job these days,
you fly drones.
No. I work in a space, and one of the things that I've spent all week hanging out with is people that have developed technology to knock down drones. So if you can work out what sort of reason you'd need that for,
it's just a bloke with a gun, right?
No. It's super elaborate. You got to know which is your drone and whose it is. So interpreting and knowing whose it is, and then how you pull it down, and all the different things. So there's a lot of technology for knocking down drones right now. So if you're in a racing machine, that'll be the next thing on the race course.
So you've got a little control box on your boat that knocks down a specific
it's going to be
drone.
like digital advertising, and gets a bit boring in the sailing. Then all the drones just go up in some sort of formation, make some sort of digital advertising for all the viewers. Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Well,
now you're going.
Anyway, so Robbie wins. Congratulations, Robbie.
Let's give it to Robbie.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else? I think. Do you want to say the actual words that you need to say there, boss? He may or may not.
Probably don't bother about sending your address.
Especially this time of year. Bloody post office boxes are super busy.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, and they're bloody... Oh, look out. Sorry, tracksuit pants.
It's hot time with Vice.
Oh, Jesus. So just actually chatting with the GM at the Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia. Spent a bit of time with him over the last few weeks, preparing for opening day and what have you last week. But as far as... So his sailing knowledge comes from bar karate. So Adam Hazing. Sailing knowledge comes from bar karate. And we had this topic on the table the other day about mould 11 boats.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like piping in here, piping in there, piping in here.
That bloody BP.
You exactly what's going on. Unreal.
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
Very
cool.
good.
What was I
Nice.
saying? Oh, anyway, the have you ever heard the phrase in yachting? It's never really like this.
Yes, no, I haven't seen like this before.
Specifically around regatta time.
Yep.
Yes.
And the reason I bring it up is actually today or this weekend, there was the Sharpie stake titles here in Adelaide. The OK somethings that had, not OK, contenders. So people from interstate were here and stuff. Didn't get a race off.
No wind or too much
Didn't get
wind.
a race off. No wind. No wind.
Oh,
Never
okay.
like that. Never ever like that.
Never like that. Exactly. This time of year, normally nice sea breezes. But there's a string of this going on. Oh, Ireland for the 5-0s.
Yeah.
Gordon.
Yeah.
The, what was it? The J70s.
J70s in Monaco.
Who only raced on the last day.
One day for a world
Yeah.
championship.
Explaining why we couldn't get any results.
Even the last event of the TPs, like they only got maybe 5 races off out of what was meant to be 10. And we're kind of just seeing it almost everywhere. But where we're not seeing it, my friends, the Bay of Certain Death has risen its head again just in time. The word was out. Word was out. All right, route to rum about to start. Why don't we actually just whip up a bit of a North Atlantic depression and really kick these bastards in the ass? And so in turn, what's happened, now bear with me a little bit here, is they've essentially postponed it, the start, to either a Tuesday night or Wednesday morning at this point in time. But as you know, BP, who knows how long that's going to go.
Oh, mate, I tell you what they'll be looking for is a window, because that's the hardest part about the Bay of Certain Death is that
I've got my little
there ain't no
cursor.
Windows. There ain't no windows.
I've got my
there.
little cursor just sitting off breast here.
Yeah,
Just wrong browser's open. Sorry. All right, I've gone to windy breast. Really good one. Really good one.
Yeah, like
don't
we're so funny.
Don't Google windy breast.
Got my cursor just
cursor
sitting
on
off
it.
breast.
Anyway, come on. All right, go on.
No.
Okay, so here's the interesting bit. So obviously you got all these boats, Destination Guadalupe. Part of the rules is all boats must remain, after you finish, must remain in Guadalupe for a certain amount of time. Where this gets interesting
is they losing that time.
the boats that need to get back for
rush
the
back.
start of the ocean race.
Yes. Yeah. It's a tight.
So watch this space, gents. I wouldn't be surprised that, well, priorities are priorities, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surped that we'll see some non-finishers specifically for getting back to Alicante
not even
in
non-starters
time for the actual assembly period for the ocean race.
As I said off air, I did say off air that the mini transit in 2013 was postponed. I think it was for 5 weeks in the end.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to start October 13th. Didn't start until mid-November, and I was there the whole time. And this can happen this time of year.
Well, Boise made that discussion at the start. You know, there's been no win for a whole lot of regattas. It looks like it's all condensed.
It's all right in that, just hanging off.
Well, so what they've done is all the wind over the last few months of it's condensed into that area there. But that's while the sunfish are coming up from the south and heading up towards the equator.
Yeah. But whether they get away on Tuesday, I doubt it. Like just
the sunfish.
No.
It looks like a Wednesday morning.
The route to rum fleet. Like there's a whole lineup of cells coming through by the looks of it. So it's
not uncommon.
It's a big event. They're all going to be. There'll be some towy people zooming around those
that
pubs.
Second one, like, do yourself a favour, listeners. Go into windy.com or whatever
you're working
follow,
for them now.
But have a bloody.
How's our form tonight? What's going on? Are we going pro or something?
Didn't you get the notes?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. No.
Oh shit.
So
Rightio. Anyway.
Yeah, go and have a look because you'll see.
You're right.
A lot of
some serious stuff going on in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And obviously for the guys who are interested in it, it's going to be a cracking race if it does get going at some stage. So.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Exciting times.
So I had a bit of a wrap up for the TPs as well.
Yeah.
But due to our recording the other morning, basically nothing changed.
Okay.
Quantum overall winners of the season, Phoenix second,
Amway.
and Platoon. Interestingly, so Quantum, that's their 5th win out of the last 10 seasons of the Super Series.
Pretty full.
They won 4 of this year, 4 of the 5.
Wow.
Funnily enough, not funnily enough. So Doug DeVos was steering for those 4 of the 5.
Yeah.
And when Doug wasn't there, Cherry was steering. They came 4th.
We need to get Hutch on the show.
But it just shows how close it is, though. It just goes to show with our good mate, the curse wins again. Chris Hoskins on board.
Yep. As
the main trimmer came in to replace Warwick Fleury throughout the season.
There we go.
So well done to Quantum.
Yeah.
Great win. Keep pushing forward, and TPs have announced next year's program: Saint Tropez, Scalino, Menorca, Barcelona, Porto Patales. So, just doing it tough again.
Doing it real tough. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, righto.
So the
Bloody
real
awesome.
cup campaigns. Good. Tough time, hot time.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Is that it?
Huh?
That's it.
Well, you were cracking on about the 5-0s. I'm trying to wrap things up here. Australia's Got Talents on.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to throw in a couple of things. One, the Magenta Project and the Amoka class are creating an opportunity as part of the Route de Rhum. So 7 women are working on 7 different Amoka campaigns as part of this Route de Rhum. So they're getting the chance to be included. And learn, working on the shore team element. So I think that's a great thing. So the Magenta Project.
And it's probably the right environment too.
Yep.
Because there are a lot of women working in that environment as it is
That's
already.
right.
So to actually work alongside and see that happening is hats off.
Yep. It's fantastic. I think it's a great thing. And obviously, the Magenta Project and the team involved there have done, doing great things. It's just been so strong, with all their mentoring and how they put it all together. And it's just grown and grown and grown. So, should be very, very happy with themselves, how they've gone. And Meg Riley, of course, who was on the show to talk with Bar Karate. So obviously the reverse curse continues to work and great outcomes going on.
Reverse curse, I love it.
That's
going to be our next. That's going to be our next T-shirt.
The reverse curse.
Reverse curse.
Bar Karate reverse curse.
7th event of the Sail GP season next weekend. So when we go to air next weekend, I will probably be recording in Dubai, I guess.
Nice.
We're in the Middle East.
We might be fully international next week. I could be up in Asia, so
Jordan.
It's going to be fun.
Got some bad news.
What's that?
Oh,
I know you did a bit of work for me behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Sail GP World when
Yeah.
it comes to Sydney.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've had to decline.
Oh,
But due to the clash with the Teakle Classic.
yes.
Clash with the Teakle Classic.
Classic,
But
yes.
what it has done is allowed me to have a bit of banter with some of your colleagues. So if you actually go back in history onto windy.com and just check out the exact what is going on in each area at the time of Sail GP. If you go on air pollution, there's a shitload of stuff going on. And I'm believing that's coming out of your mouth, my friend.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
So for those, remember that obviously Australia was the dominant team. New Zealand have suddenly kicked in and are looking fantastic. And then the French team have really come on strong. So that's the top 3 ranking teams at the moment. So
you know what I was thinking? With the French team coming on so strong, we wouldn't have been far off hearing a French team announced for the America's Cup. But I think we're getting a bit too late in the program.
Yep.
Yeah.
For that to happen.
No, nowhere near late enough for the French.
Yeah,
We've got another 3-4 weeks, maybe even a month, maybe 2 months. Believe me, been there, done that.
World Sailing hosting the Parasailing International Championships, so an international championships, not officially a world champs, for athletes with intellectual impairment. And they're hosting it at Southport Yacht Club, so in Queensland, near where I live, and it started yesterday as we record this, and be going this week. So best of luck to all competitors in that event. I thought we raised
Keep an eye on that for sure.
Yeah. So if you are down around the lovely Gold Coast in Australia, they'll be sailing out of Southport all week, so you can go and have a little bit of a look at that. The 2.4 metre R World Championships are also happening this week, same dates, 5th to the 11th, in Tampa in Florida. At the Davis Island Yacht Club, so the little 2.4s. I've always thought the three of us would race each other in one of those one day. I really did. I have thought that might be something.
We wouldn't even be worth turning up, PP.
I don't know.
It'd be like the tunk leaning to weather, just the head drops over.
Head drops.
The riding moment, just through the roof.
We're easing sheet and Vang sheeting there. Gordon just puts his head on the windward rail and just lights up.
Oh, I've got a few more head jokes for the rest of the show.
Well, okay. Well, speaking of jokes, it's a World Champs. It's in Florida. I wonder if our mate Ravi Parent's going to be competing, because he was planning on doing all the Worlds in Florida. Ravi?
Yeah, you're right.
Very good. Yes, he did say that. He said if there's a World Series, why
hold
not do it?
He could tie two boats together and just race around. He'd be fine.
Yeah,
one leg in each.
So yeah, just thought we'd mention those because two important events. This is interesting. I guess the Australian Sailing Awards were announced. So the best male sailor in Australia, best female sailor in Australia that's recognised, and thought
reverse curse.
Yeah, the reverse curse. So congratulations to Tom Slingsby, or Slingsby.
Slong Timsley.
Old Tim Slongsby.
Oh, Slongers. Tim's be Slongers.
The worst thing that's going to get back so definitely.
Oh, mate, I'm ringing him straight after this. Slongers.
Should I say Sarah?
No, you shouldn't say anything.
Sarah Matransky. Mara Stransky, congratulations there.
Well done, Mara.
Yeah. Chris Simmons as well. And with that, so that's the male, female, and the parasailer of the year. Congratulations to that. The team of the year was the Sail GP team. Blah blah blah. Continuing on, there's the coach of the year as well.
Ben Durham. Good friend. Yet to be on the show, so it wasn't the reverse curse for that.
Yep.
But you two would look good together, Jordan.
Yes.
Like he's a small head, big body. You're big head, small body.
I don't know.
And you're exactly the same height.
Love to see. I'm going to see a funny picture of them standing next to each other. I don't know.
Sorry,
I don't know.
I kind of just had to animate that a little bit. But.
Okay, well, even better, the Hall of Fame inductees. It continues, the reverse curse. Jess Watson. Congratulations, Jessica.
Yes.
I know you're an amazing lass, a great young lady, and
absolutely, well done.
We know you're a massive fan of the show,
and
you've had some hard times. So over the last couple of years ago, so hopefully this is something nice recognition. Matty Belcher, the great man, has been recognised, and Tommy King and Mark Turnbull going in as well. So old MT been on the show.
Mate, we've done way too many episodes. That's all this is telling us.
Yeah.
Just everyone we bring on has done something really cool.
Yeah, and the person doing the speech, Alistair Murray, AM.
Yeah, president of.
Yeah. Nothing in this world happens
AM,
without Mark.
president of.
Anyway, there you go.
Well, I'll tell you what almost happens. And this is, sorry, listeners, this is where I was going a little bit with my little spiel about the CYC.
Oh,
bloody
yes.
hell, mate. I almost got kicked off Facebook.
I know.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
I couldn't even reply.
No, there's a little video going around about opening day and blah, blah, blah.
I saw that.
And Jordan commented on, what was he comment, Jordan?
Something
about, have I been banned already?
Yeah.
And basically, I wrote.
No, because you said everyone's welcome. What you made it really clear. It's a yacht club, right?
Yes.
We're not closing the doors to people.
Very good one, by the way. You're very open and very.
It's open to people. Come down to yacht clubs. They're not exclusive enclaves. And I said, "Oh, am I still banned, or have I been banned or not?" And that's where we got to.
Yeah. So I write the comment, something like this. Yes, you have been banned. I said to security, if a 5'10" male comes down here with a 7'12" head on him, fucking shoot him, all right? Apparently, the algorithms don't like that on Facebook.
Well, the funniest
so
thing,
I had to go through a review process with my mate Zuckerberg, and I said, Zooks, listen up. This is going to bring a few laughs. So don't mess with me, pal.
So did you have to go into the office in your lapels and your hat?
Yeah, I had to put the whites on. To go in the office. But as it turned out, no, I had to retract my comment.
Wow. Because I actually tried to put a reply on there. I said, why describe me? You could just tell him to look at my photo above the bar.
Oh, yeah, God. And then I would have said I bloody shot that as well.
Righto. Dragging on.
All right, sorry.
Let's go. Come on.
Well, that's it. I think we're all done and dusted. Great.
Yeah, we're done.
Great episode. I can go to bed now finally. And, yeah, good work. We're back together. The team's kicking off. Yeah, happy days.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Right. Love it.
Cool.
Righto.
All right, well, best of luck to all the Root to Rum competitors if it does get underway. And I know a bunch of you guys are listening. And, yeah, fun times. We'll be watching. And anyone want to give us a call from the middle of the ocean, you go for it. We're happy for a chat. That's it. Anything else?
Nope.
All clear.
Okay, thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great week. And be kind to yourself.
All my stars are out tonight.
No big down your stars.